Hi, my name is Elizabeth Marcano Mortlock, and I'm the founder of Loftable Yoga. Now, Loftable Yoga is a combination of three different exercise modalities. It consists of laughter as an exercise, um, working out in a ball, and doing yoga positions, all really universal Pilates yoga positions all at the same time. Now, why did I come up with Loftable Yoga? Well, back in 2005, I was diagnosed with something called spondylosis. And I literally could only do anything for maybe 15 minutes at a time. I was living in agony. I love gardening. I love doing stuff with my body. I'm very, very active. But back then, I could barely do anything. My daily living activities were so limited. Like I said, if I wanted to do any gardening, I could only do maybe for 15 minutes, and I would have to come in and I would actually have to do traction to heal myself. I used to wear a neck brace. I used to really live in agony. Yeah. And at the time, I used to do kickboxing and used to dance because I was a dancer anyway. In university, I was in a dance company. But like I said, I would use my body for everything. I was always very, very active. But back then, I could barely do anything. And I was in agony. So what happened? I started doing, rather than doing high activity, high intense activities in terms of exercises, I started doing yoga. Yeah, because I thought maybe in order to heal myself, I would do more stretching. And it helped, but not as much as I wanted it to. So then one day I was looking at some program and they started talking about the ball being really, really great for pain and backaches. And because a lot of my pain was in my back, because the spondylosis was my L4 and L5 used to get thrown out of alignment all the time, and I had arthritis in my neck. So hence the reason why I had to wear a neck brace, even when I was sleeping. It was crazy. So anyway, so when I would do yoga, I noticed there was some level of relief in terms of what I was doing and how I was with my daily living activities. Not that they were increasing in terms of me doing more, or the pain was less. It's just that because movement is medicine, I felt good. Yeah. So then when I saw the information about the ball, yeah, I actually went out, got a ball, and within a couple of weeks, I started noticing a difference. Like I felt my body was getting a little bit stronger, but it was still not enough. And at the point when I was first diagnosed with spondylosis, I used to see my cranial osteopath 4 times a week because no matter what I did, if I stood in one position for like 3 minutes, my body would get thrown out of alignment and I would be in pain. I could barely walk. I used to literally have to crawl on my hands and knees at times to get to the toilet even. You know, this is not the life I came in to live. Not me. So anyway, so like I said, I used to see my cranial osteopath maybe 3, 4 times a week back then. So, and when I added the ball. So when I added the ball to it, she noticed a difference in terms of my strength and the strength of my muscle becoming stronger. But my pain threshold was still really, I was really still living in a lot of pain. Yeah. I remember one time I was in such agony. To walk across the road, which was not a huge road, yeah, just a street, I had to have a cane. My husband was holding my arm. I'm holding the cane with my right arm. My husband's holding my left arm, so I could walk across the road to go and see my cranial osteopath. That was sad. It's not the ticket I bought, and it's not the life I want to live. So anyway, one of my agents actually told me about laughter being the biggest thing in the world at the moment. Everybody's doing it, and we should do a session together. Yeah, because I also do acting and modeling. So one of my agents told me about this. Okay, so I said, okay, let's do a course. I went for an audition with him, and he tells me about laughter. So I came home, checked it out, got online, and I found a laughter facilitator session that I can actually do. But I didn't want to just do a laughter session like on the beach, like what they were doing, or going to the park and laugh. I really wanted to learn how to laugh for health purposes, yeah, to heal myself, to to really, really heal myself, yeah, and stop living in such agony. And of course, I took the course, the Laughter Facilitator course. It was just a weekend course. And in that course, there were several clinicians, and but there was this one couple who were diagnosed with depression. So they actually came to the course to see how they can heal themselves. Now, this couple, when we first started, the course was only a weekend course. This couple, when we first started on the Friday, couldn't look anybody in the eye, and they would only look down. And that was Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, once we started doing the laughter and the belly breathing and understanding what laughter was all about, by the end of the first day, they were actually making eye contact. So I was witnessing on that day, the miracles of laughter. So, like I said, it was just a weekend course. But at the end by the Sunday, which is when the course was finished, we had to do an assessment, in order to get our certificates. And the cost was like, I don't know, £350. And this is back in 1980, I think it was. So that's a lot of money for a course. Not 80, sorry, it was 1980, I forget what. Anyway, it was 2008. Yeah, 2008, I took this course. So, £350 for a weekend course is a lot of money. But anyway, for me, it wasn't about the money, it's what could I get out of this course? So anyway, at the end of the course on the Sunday, we all had to do an assessment, in order to get our certificates. And this couple came out and did their assessment, and they just had everybody pissing down with laughter. I mean, we couldn't stop laughing. They were laughing, they were talking, they were making eye contact. You would never, ever know that these people were depressed or anything like that, So what I witnessed on that weekend was a bud. It's almost like seeing a flower, where it's a tight bud, and then just seeing it open and open, open and open into this beautiful, beautiful, vibrant flower. And that's what I witnessed on that weekend. Now, at the end of the course, we were given a CD. Not given, because we had to pay for that. And the CD was 5 minutes of laughter, 10 minutes of laughter, and then 20 minutes of laughter. So on the Monday, I added the CD to my ball and yoga practice, Now, I could barely laugh for 2 minutes within that 5-minute session of that laughter CD. So each day, what I did was, I would increase the length of time I was laughing for and do my yoga positions with the ball, And within the first week, I started noticing a difference. And within the first 2 weeks, my pain threshold changed. I wasn't in a lot of the pain I used to be in. And I also noticed that my body was changing. I was getting leaner. I felt more toned. I actually started seeing, within the first month, rather than seeing my cranial osteopath 3-4 times a week, I was actually, within the first 2 weeks of doing laughter ball yoga, which is, by then I didn't call it laughter ball yoga, but within 2 weeks of adding the laughter to my practice, I started seeing my cranial once a week. So I'm like, well, what's going on here? And then before you know it, I increased I went from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 20 minutes to 30 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, and I started increasing my time doing the laughter with the ball and doing all the yoga positions. And doing laughter ball yoga is actually quite meditative. So at the beginning of one session one day, I just said, so what should I call it? Because what happened was, before I named it, I actually went to see my same agent who told me about laughter. So that was 3 months into me doing laughter ball yoga, or adding laughter to my regime. And I went for an audition with him, and he said, Elizabeth, what are you doing? You've had a facelift, haven't you, girl? And I'm like, no. He goes, you look so much younger. He goes, you always look great anyway, but what are you doing? He goes, you look younger. He goes, you look really toned. He goes, do you mind if I poke you around? So he started poking me. He goes, my gosh, you always fit and lean. And Tony says, but my gosh, you are even more toned and lean, and you look younger. And he goes, what are you doing? And I said, Mark, I added the laughter to my regime, yeah? And he said, oh my gosh, you're gonna market this girl. So I'm like, you know what? You're right, I am going to do that. So what I did was, after that audition, the following day when I started, because every morning I do my laughter ball yoga before I do anything else, before I started my laughter ball yoga session, by the time it was this yoga with the ball session, with laughter included, I said to the universe, I threw it out there to the universe to manifest. What do I call this? And I said, by the end of the session, you will tell me, souls, what to name this intervention. And by the end of the session, guess what? I was told the name of the intervention. And the intervention was called, and is to be called, Laughter Ball Yoga. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then I was also told that I was given spondylosis not as an illness or an ailment or anything like that. I was given spondylosis to heal myself with Laughter Ball Yoga, so I can create and develop Laughter Ball Yoga as an intervention, to give back to humanity, so I can help other people empower their own healing. So it was given to me, spondylosis, as a gift, so I can develop Laughter Ball Yoga, so I can actually help other people, by facilitating their healing. So through the journey, it's been amazing, right? Because I've been doing this now since 2008, Laughter Ball Yoga, since 2008. I wanted always to get it. Before I went commercial, selling it to the public, I wanted to be able to test it in a live situation, in a clinical environment with patients and staff. I tried universities, I contacted so many different professors around the world, in different universities, saying, would you help me test this intervention, Laughter Ball Yoga, because I know it heals. Because what had happened was, my cranial osteopath, Jessica Ovet, she actually, because I was doing so well, and by the end of the first 6 months of doing Laughter Ball Yoga, rather than seeing her 3-4 times a week, I was then seeing her maybe once every 3 months. And after the first year, it went to, I wasn't seeing her at all, maybe once every 6 months if I wanted to. And now I don't see her, I only see her when I feel like I want to get nurtured, So anyway, so I wanted to get this tested in a live environment. So I contacted so many different clinicians and universities around the world to get someone to say, yes, we will test this with you. And yes, I did have a couple, and then it didn't work out, which is, rejection is protection. So finally, in 2016, I went to the South London and Maudsley Trust, an event there, and whoever was running the event, I told them about the intervention and that I wanted to get it tested in a clinical environment. So she kindly said, gave me her details, and she told me to send her some information about the stuff, and she will do it on her intranet. So surely I did that. Next thing I know, I got invited, by Ellen Van Dyke, who was a clinical exercise instructor on the springboard at the South London and Maudsley Trust Forensic Department. She was a clinical exercise instructor for that. And the forensics on lady prisoners. So she and her boss, the head of OT, occupational therapy, invited me to come and teach Laughter Ball Yoga to the lady prisoners. And they only wanted me to do it for like 6 weeks, just to start, to see how it's going to work. And blow me down, within the first couple of weeks, we started from the first day, the first session, we started witnessing miracles happening each time we taught it. And then I was only teaching one ward, which was the spring ward. I was doing it once a week. And then before we knew it, other wards started hearing about it and invited me to come and teach it in their wards, but it was just me doing it. So I became, in order to teach it at the South London and Maudsley Trust, I had to become a volunteer. So I actually became a volunteer. So I was a Loftable Yoga instructor, volunteer Loftable Yoga instructor for the South London Maudsley Trust, NHS Foundation Trust Hospital. Anyway, so to make a long story short, we witnessed so many miracles. Yeah, I was teaching what was supposed to be 6 weeks in 2016, lasted 4 years, yeah, up until 2020, before COVID. Right until COVID, until lockdown, I was teaching this as a volunteer at the South London and Maudsley NHS Foundation Trust. I was teaching 3 wards, the Loftable Yoga, on 3 wards to patients and staff together on 3 wards, Loftable Yoga once a week. And it's been an amazing journey, the miracles we witnessed, okay? So here I am now. Since lockdown, I had to stop teaching it, yeah, because we weren't allowed to go to the hospitals. I started teaching it virtually to the National Autism Unit, which is one of the wards I taught on, yeah, and that worked out so well that actually gave me the opportunity to now start commercializing it and teaching people how to do Loftable Yoga at home, because this is my home, yeah. You don't have to go to the gym. I'm not saying not to go to the gym, but you can actually do this practice. It's so practical that you can actually do it at home, all right? So this is kind of like the wonderful story about Loftable Yoga. And if you go onto my website, loftableyoga.com, you're going to be able to hear some testimonials from some of the clinicians that I worked with at the South London and Maudsley Trust. Okay? So thank you so much for the journey, and just you enjoy the journey with Loftable Yoga. Thank you.